Hi, my name's Brighty and I'm an organisational psychologist, coach and ex-sufferer of imposter syndrome. So I like to say ex-sufferer. I still have my moments, like when somebody posts on LinkedIn that they've got an amazing contract, or if I see someone's website and they've worked with loads of amazing companies and I think, oh, I haven't done that. But in general, I like to think of myself as an ex-sufferer. And the main reason for that is coaching. So I just wanted to do this series of Coach Yourself Imposter Syndrome videos to share some of the activities that I found really helpful and that my clients have also found really helpful. So this video today is just going to be an introduction to what is imposter syndrome, a bit about confirmation bias, which is this naughty little psychological phenomenon that makes imposter syndrome really difficult to get rid of, and some information about why, if you think you're a fraud, you're almost definitely not one. So in terms of what imposter syndrome is, imposter syndrome was a term coined by two clinical psychologists in 1978. And although there's lots of different aspects to imposter syndrome, but the main thing that people struggle with is the ability to see their own abilities and talents, and the ability to internalize success, so to say, oh, well, that went well and that was because of something that I did. So research suggests that up to 70% of people will experience imposter syndrome at some point in their life, so you're not alone. And as well as being a really uncomfortable experience, having imposter syndrome, like thinking that you're just not good enough, it also can lead you to adopt really costly coping mechanisms, so things like people pleasing, massively over preparing, like relying too much on being charming or saying yes to everything. And so it's obviously something that we want to try to avoid. So when somebody with imposter syndrome experiences success, they'll often feel relieved rather than happy. So try to think back to the last time something went really well. Did you think, oh, that was great, and that went really well, I'm so happy? Or, oh, thank goodness, that went really well, I'm so relieved. And that will give you a bit of an indication about whether or not you have got imposter syndrome, although there are lots of different ways that people experience it. In terms of who it impacts, it can affect anybody. So people often think, oh, imposter syndrome is just about your career, but it can be about any role that you play in your life. So it can be about how you are as a friend, how you see yourself as a parent, how you see yourself in relationships. There is good news though. Imposter syndrome is mainly associated with high achievers. So if you think that you are a fraud, there's very little chance that you actually are one, because a real fraud would never admit that to themselves or to anybody else. So one of the things that keeps imposter syndrome alive and well is a psychological phenomenon called confirmation bias. And what that is it's the idea that if you have a belief about something, you look for evidence in your surroundings that confirm your belief. And so if you think about people who are really into politics, they'll see their party and everything their party does is great and everything the opposition party do are terrible. Or if you have an argument with your partner, I hope my husband doesn't watch this because this is something I do. I go onto Google and I search the thing that backs up my argument. And it's basically, I'd ignore every other thing that might back up his argument and I just look for the information that's about mine. It's the psychological version of that. So it's even worse for people, for situations where there's high emotions involved. And so obviously it's a highly emotional thing, thinking that you're rubbish. So that just plays into the situation even more, and you're looking for evidence all the time of why you are rubbish. And your behaviour and doing things well actually makes the whole problem worse. So for example, if your imposter syndrome plays out as you being a massive over-preparer, what will happen is you'll say have a presentation to do, so you'll over-prepare and then it'll go well. and then afterwards, instead of thinking, oh, that presentation went so well, I'm so knowledgeable, I really know my stuff and I'm really great at presentations, you'll think, oh, thank goodness I did so much preparation. If I hadn't done all that preparation, it would have gone really badly. And then the next time you've got to do a presentation, you'll over-prepare again because you won't trust your own abilities. And so this is the tricky thing that makes imposter syndrome so hard to combat, that even doing well makes you think that you are a fraud. In my next video, I'm going to talk through an activity that will help us to focus on the facts. So instead of looking for all this evidence that you're terrible, we're just going to focus on the facts of what you've actually done, and then you will probably see that you are pretty great. So the kind of information that I've shared with you today is the kind of information that I'll be going through in my imposter syndrome coaching course. If you want more information about that, just go to my website, brightypeople.com, or just give me a call, and my phone number's on my website.